Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're breaking down a pretty provocative theory on the psychology of attraction and the so-called friendzone, all based on the work of Alejandro Peterson. We're going to dig into why trying to logically convince someone to like you might be the very thing that's holding you back.
Okay, so let's just jump right in with the core idea of this whole thing. It starts with this really bold statement. You can't persuade someone to be attracted to you. It's not a business deal. It's not a debate. Desire, the argument goes, is a gut feeling, an instinct. It's not a choice someone makes with the logical part of their brain.
And that brings us to our first big concept, the logic trap. This is, supposedly, the fundamental mistake people make, trying to use logic and reason to create a purely emotional response.
Just think about it for a second. Have you ever done this? You start listing your good qualities, right? I'm a great listener, I'm loyal, I have a good job. You're basically handing them a resume for the position of boyfriend. But according to this theory, that's a total dead end, because you're appealing to their logical mind, not the primal part of the brain where attraction actually sparks.
And this is where it gets really fascinating. The theory points out this weird paradox. You can ask someone to describe their ideal partner, and they'll give you this perfect logical list. Hardworking, responsible, a good listener, all that stuff. But then you ask them about the last person they were just wildly, intensely attracted to. And, a lot of the time, that person looks nothing like the ideal they just described. And that gap, right there, that's the logic trap.
So, if logic is the trap, how does so many of us fall into it? Well, the source claims it's usually an unconscious mistake. It's a kind of self-sabotage, where you're just using the wrong tools for the job without even realizing it.
And here's the crucial part. The very things you're doing to try and get closer to someone, being super accommodating, validating everything they say, always being available to help them out, those are identified as the building blocks of the friend zone. They create comfort, sure, but the argument is that they absolutely kill any kind of romantic tension.
This lays it out perfectly. It starts with being way too accommodating, basically a doormat. Then comes the constant need for their approval, always fishing for compliments. And the final nail in the coffin? You hide what you actually want. You pretend your interest is just platonic. You act like a friend. So, you become one. Simple as that.
All right, so if all those friendly behaviors are the problem, what's the solution? What are you supposed to do instead? Well, this is where the theory proposes a pretty radical shift toward a completely different set of traits.
The advice here is pretty blunt. It's a direct replacement. You have to stop doing the things that build friendship and consciously start doing the things that supposedly build attraction. It's out with the old, in with the new.
First up on the list of attractive traits, humor. But, and this is a big but, we're not talking about just telling jokes. It's a specific kind of humor, playful, maybe a little teasing. The goal isn't just to make them laugh. It's to create a spark, a bit of a challenge, an unpredictable vibe.
Next, we have what's called emotional bravery. What does that mean? It's having the courage to disagree, to challenge them a bit, to create some healthy tension, instead of always trying to keep things smooth and harmonious. It's about showing you have your own mind and you're not afraid to speak it.
And the third piece of this puzzle is leadership. Now, this doesn't mean being bossy or controlling. It just means having a direction in your own life. You have goals, you have a purpose. You're the one driving your own bus, not just passively agreeing to go wherever they want to go.
Okay, so all of this, the humor, the bravery, the leadership, it's all built on top of one core idea, what the source calls the position of power. Let's break down exactly what that means.
Now, this is really important because this can sound a little sketchy. This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate anyone. It's just a simple observation about social dynamics. In any relationship, the person who needs the other person less just naturally has a bit more leverage. Their approval isn't so desperately sought after.
So this is what it often looks like at the beginning. You pour 100% of your romantic attention onto one person. What does that signal? It screams, I have absolutely no other options. And right there, according to the theory, you've just given away that position of power.
And this is the goal. It's not about ignoring them. It's about rebalancing your life. You start genuinely investing your time and energy in other things, your friends, your hobbies, maybe even meeting other people. You suddenly don't need that one person's validation anymore. And that lack of neediness, that's what's described as being inherently attractive.
But here's a really important catch. This isn't some quick fix or a trick you can just pull out of your hat. The source is very clear. This has to be a real, fundamental, long-term change in how you see yourself and how you behave.
You can't just flip a switch overnight. It's a gradual process. You spend the first month or so just trying to break those old, knee-jerk nice guy habits. Then over the next 6 months, you start to actively integrate these new traits, and by the end of a year, the idea is that it's not an act anymore. It's just who you are.
And that, right there, is the whole point. The goal isn't to act attractive. It's not a performance you put on. It's about a genuine personality upgrade. It's about an internal change that then creates a different external result in how people see you.
So, at the end of the day, this whole philosophy really comes down to this one powerful question. It's something you're meant to ask yourself in every interaction. Is what I'm doing right now building comfort and friendship? Or is it building tension and attraction? Because as this theory suggests, you can't always have it both ways.